So we have Karen Courtwright. Karen, if you can go ahead and just state your name again for the record.
Hi, I'm Karen Courtwright. And I'm sorry that you're not all present, but I guess I will type these up and hopefully find emails for those of you who are not there. So I was part of the committee that made the Citizen Complaint Assessment Committee that made recommendations for how to reconstitute a citizen review commission for the City of Evanston Police Complaint Commission. And there were, I don't know if you all were given our reports. I can certainly send them along, or Kimberly, of course, has them as well. But there were a fair number of things that were discussed and recommended that were not included in the ordinance that formed your group. And there were some important things that I just want you all to be aware of, so that you're aware of the things that we thought were important weaknesses in the prior situation. So one was, and this wasn't even discussed during the time that the ordinance was being drafted, but last week, I think both Kimberly and Sergeant Wernick discussed that a citizen who makes a complaint is notified that their complaint is going to be reviewed at the HSC. We had thought it was really important that citizens know when their complaint was coming to you all, because once you have reviewed it and affirmed or made other recommendations back to EPD, it's kind of too late for them to bring some of their story forward if it varies from what is indeed in the report that you all see from EPD. There was an example of a gentleman who did go to HSC, and he had a much different story to tell about having the EPD said that he didn't cooperate with the investigation, and he said he wasn't contacted by the police when they were doing the investigation. So you could see how that would definitely make for a different kind of investigatory outcome. Another thing that I noticed wasn't discussed last week was the fact that when you go to executive session to view body cams or dash cams and so on, that is appropriately done, according to our city at least, in executive session. Other cities do not read open meeting laws that way. And that the Open Meetings Act should be read, according to some lawyers who I've talked to this about, but of course you can get your own advice, that you can't really discuss what you're seeing on screen amongst each other in executive session. Rather, that needs to take place in the public session, because you're acting on behalf of the public in your role as commissioners. And finally, several times actually, when the former committee, CPAC, was reviewing complaints, the introduction in the report coming from EPD identified rules that if the accused officer was found to have violated, which rule they would be violating. Sometimes the complainant would say in their narrative that they felt like they were being racially profiled, and yet Rule 74 was not invoked or addressed in the investigation. So I'd encourage you to keep an eye out for that. And that's all I have. Thank you so much for your service, and thanks for listening to me tonight.